All right, friends, I think we have been able to fix this problem, but give me a moment. Let me restart the quiz. Okay, so I think the problem is solved. I'm sorry about this glitch, and we will restart this quiz in a moment. All right, so now let's go to the next question, and hopefully this problem is resolved now. Let me check if it is resolved. Okay, so now we have been able to resolve this technical glitch which we faced today. So sorry about it. Let us now begin our quiz. So we have already done this question, and Chandrasen has been able to give the answer. The answer was the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, and Chandrasen was able to give the right answer. Now let's go to the next question. And the next question is, in the year 1660, which European ship discovers Australia? Which European ship discovers Australia? So I want to know the name of the ship uh, which was instrumental in finding the land of Australia, and the time starts now. Well, the Australia was discovered because that was a era of going and finding new land and settling there, and there were a lot of such things which were going on at that point in time, and also a lot of exploration. A lot of countries were actually in race for colonizing new lands, and therefore during this era, the Australia was discovered by the West. Let's find out what is the correct answer. The answer is the Dutch East India Company ship, the Andracht. That is the name of the ship, and the Dutch East India Company was operating in the area, which is the Far East, and the East India Company was operating in the Indian sub-Indian continent of Asia. So there were two large companies, and they also had a lot of commercial ties with each other. So now let's find out who have been able to give the right answer. So Chandrasen, you have been able to give the right answer, and Rakt is the name of the ship which for the very first time, landed in Australia and discovered Australia. All right, now let's go to the next question, and quickly, because I think because of the technical glitch we have lost some time, so we want to recover that. In the year 1671, who discovered the satellite, Ipetus, a satellite of Saturn, in the year 1671, and the time starts now. Well, Saturn is quite far off, and it was very difficult to see using the rudimentary telescopes that the mankind had at that point in time. However, there's one gentleman who was responsible, one astronomer who was responsible for this discovery. Very popular name in the scientific community. Let's find out this answer. Giovanni Cassini, an Italian astronomer who was instrumental in doing a lot of research uh, on Saturn, and he actually gave a lot of hypotheses, the early pioneer of discovering the Saturn, also the satellites. In fact, the probe, which NASA probe, which was sent few years back on Saturn, was also known as Cassini space probe. Now let's find out who have been able to give the answer to this question. Okay, so it's Chandrasen again, Giovanni Cassini. Good job, Chandrasen. All right, now quickly move to the next question. In the year 1829, which was the world first prison to entirely use solitary confinement system as a intended method for rehabilitation? So before that there were dungeons and jails of different kind, but for the first time in the year 1829, prison used the system of solitary confinement for the first time in the world. And please name this prison. Time starts now. So, as you know, friends, whenever you talk about punishment, crime and punishment, there are various levels of crime and punishment, but for certain heinous crime, the solitary confinement is prescribed. But nobody had that idea before 1829, and therefore, this became the standard protocol today while giving the punishment to convicts. So, let's go to the answer. Well, this was a jail which opens in Philadelphia and in Pennsylvania, and this was the jail which implemented the solitary confinement method of punishment for the very first time in the world. But later on, all law enforcement globally have adopted this method. Let's find out who has been able to give the right answer. So, Chandrasen, you have been able to give the right answer. It is the jail in Pennsylvania. Okay, so now let's quickly move to the next question. In the year 1906, who invented the three-diode amplification valve, which is basically a sort of a transistor, and which proved a pioneering development in radio broadcasting. Basically, this three-diode amplification valves, we actually sometimes call them the tube. Also, the radio and the transistors were developed after this invention. So therefore, this invention is very important for development of television and radios. So please tell me the name of the inventor, and the time starts now. So when the development era was going on way back in the 18th century, scientists realized that they can actually control the number of electrons that can travel from anode to cathode, and by putting another terminal in between and using the current in that terminal, you can convert that diode, which allow only a traffic going from anode to cathode, but you can control the traffic by putting another terminal in between, and that is why this is called a revolution, and therefore it created a transistor. And this development was done by a very pioneering scientist. Essentially, we can call him the first electronics engineer. Let's find out the answer. It's an American Lee De Forest. That is the name of this inventor. And really, whatever we do in electronics today is thanks to this forest technology. Even though we do not see the bulbs, but essentially everything remains the same, and those are miniaturized into microprocessors on our chip today. So let's find out who have been able to give the right answer. So it is Chandrasen. You have been able to give the right answer. Lee De Forest is the right answer. All right, now let's quickly move to the next question. In the year 1942, which German commander earned the nickname of being called as Desert Fox? Desert Fox in 1942 during the war. The time starts now. Friends, this is one of the remarkable general on the German side, and in fact, the Allies were really worried about this general's ability to lead the army to victory, and therefore, if you follow Second World War, you should know the answer of this question. Now, before I tell you more about this person, let's find out who this person was. It was the Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, a very soldier at heart and very accomplished leader of the army, and he was basically fighting for the Germany and winning the war over allies, especially in the Egypt and Libya area, which is basically the desert, and therefore he is known as the Desert Fox because he was able to not only push back the Allies army, but also win over, and he had that ability to not let go. And however, he was a nationalist, and he did not like, the German government of the day, which was headed by all the Nazis, doing what they were doing. And therefore, he actually sort of went against the Führer, which is the Hitler. And some people say, never proven, but some people say that he was forced to commit suicide because the Hitler didn't want him to be didn't want him to oppose such a decorated soldier to oppose him, especially when the war was on. And he also wanted him to eliminate. So he was forced to commit suicide because it was told to him that his family will be taken care. All right. Now let's find out who were able to give the right answer. So Chandrasen, lot of cheers for you. You are the winner. All right, now let's quickly move to the next question. In the year 1945, Japanese surrendered Taiwan to which Chinese general? We know Taiwan is a separate country. It is not part of the mainland China. But essentially, the Taiwanese and the Chinese people are the same. They are ruled by the same Communist Party. However, the question today is very specific. 1945, Japanese surrendered to which Chinese general? The island of Taiwan. And the time starts now. Well, friends, in 1945, there was a World War. However, the China and India were fighting a different battle. They were fighting for independence. So the Communist Party of China, People's Party of China, basically were fighting many wars. They were fighting Japanese. They were also fighting English, because the British had occupied China, also including India. So there was a big, and China is a big country, a very populous country. So it was a big battle, and they were fighting on different war fronts. However, uh, I don't want to discuss too much politics about China, but there were a Communist Party of China, which was headed by two senior leaders. One was Mao Zedong, and other was the answer of this question, and that is General Chiang Kai-shek. General Chiang Kai-shek, who actually became the founding father of Taiwan, and then they broke away from mainland China after independence and became a separate country. And you know the politics today. The Chinese government says that Taiwan is part of China, and and the Taiwanese people say that mainland China is part of Taiwan. So whole lot of confusion is there, and different blocks are fighting for these two parties. Now let's find out who are able to give the answer. Well, Chandrasen, this time your answer is not correct. It is General Chiang Kai-shek, and maybe you could not read that answer, maybe because these are difficult names. So Chan Yi is not the right answer. Sorry, Chandrasen. Now let's go to the next question. In the year 1955, which country resumed its sovereignty after departure of the last Allied occupation force? 1955, and the time starts now. Well, the year is 1955, and this whole region, the European region, was basically was just had come out after fighting the World War II. And now let's go to the answer. The answer is Austria, because Austria was annexed by Germany, and for the first time, Austria was able to express their sovereignty after the Allied forces, because they had to drive Germans out, and after the Allied forces had decided to move away from Austria, and therefore Austria became a sovereign nation in 1955. So who have been able to give the right answer? Yes, it is Chandrasen again. Well done, Chandrasen. All right, let's move to the next question quickly. In the year 1960, world first flagship wearable placed on sale. So we talk about wearable now, but wearable has been an old concept. So world first flagship wearable was put on sale in New York City. What was this wearable in the year 1960? Your time starts now. So, as I said, the wearable is not a new concept. In fact, the pocket watch was the first wearable which was invented almost 400 years back. But let us now find the answer to this question. It is the first electronic wristwatch. First electronic wristwatch that was put on sale in New York City in the year 1960. And as you know that before the electronic wristwatches became popular, it was all mechanical watches. So the electronic wristwatch required a crystal, timing crystal, a battery, and a motor to run. And to perfect these micro miniaturized machine is a very difficult task. And therefore, uh, it was a big deal. Today, we do not consider electronic wristwatch as anything special. But then back there in 1960, it was a revolution. So let's find out what was the answer. Well, I think Chandrasen, you have just given the watch. Watch has been around for almost 400 years. I cannot give you this credit for this answer because watch is not the right answer. It is the electronic wristwatch is the right answer. So now let's move quickly to the next question. In the year 1973, who wins the world first hang gliding championship? And the time starts now. So hang gliders are very easy to construct flying machines, and in fact they don't have any machine, just the human body acts as a machine in the hang glider. The human actually hang inside the glider, and then because of this maneuverability incorporated by the human into this contraption, the glider is able to fly around. And that is why hang gliders became very important part of the youth tourism, because anybody can actually get into a hang glider with very little orientation. Just couple of hours you can actually fly around, zoom around from mountains, and roam around. So therefore you don't need any special training, just if you want to make a flight, unlike the aeroplanes where you need a certain number of hours you need to spend in flying aeroplanes. So hang gliders are very easy. You can carry them in your backpack. You can go to a higher elevation, build your own hang glider, and fly around after a little bit of orientation. So let's go and find the answer. The answer is Chris Willis, the first champion, hang glider champion in the world. And let's see who have been able to give the answer. Nobody has been able to give the answer. Chandrasen, you tried, but your answer is not correct. Now let's move to the next question. In the year 1974, which military force fires the first intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM? And the time starts now. the intercontinental ballistic missiles are very deadly weapon system, and the way it works is that a huge rocket is fired with the armament at the top in the nose, and then this rocket goes all the way to the space and then turn back and fall on the intended target. So when the rocket is being fired into space, the speed is very high and there is no way to know exactly where this rocket is going to be fired. And once it return, the speed is many times the speed of sound, so there is no way you can intercept it. Therefore ICBMs are considered deadly, especially with the atomic warhead. Now let's see what is the answer. The answer is the US Air Force. They were the first force in the world to fire an ICBM. And Chandrasen, I have attempted to give the answer, but Soviet Union is not the right answer. Um, because ICBM is a separate thing. Chandrasen, just for your clarity, it is a separate thing because the atomic bomb is different and the ICBM is different. It is a vehicle used to carry the atomic weapon, which was fired by the US Air Force for the very first time. Um, the use of ICBM is very limited because the ICBM actually act as a deterrent today. All right. Now let's go to the next question. In the year 1975, which space probe makes a dayside Venus landing? And the time starts now. So friends, as you know that Venus is a very extreme planet. It rotates very slowly on its axis, and in 1 year of the Venus 1 year, it only goes around 3 times on its axis. That means it will have only 3 days or less than 2 nights. That kind of crazy planet Venus is. So landing on during the daytime on the surface of Venus was a record, because after the this program, the humans have not even tried to go back to Venus because of the extreme condition. Now let's find out what is the answer to this question. It is the USSR Venera 10, and Venera is the Venera is Venus in Russian, and Venera 10 is the answer, which made the dayside landing during the heat on the surface of Venus. So who has been able to give the answer? Let's check it out. So Chandrasen has given Venera 9. Unfortunately, Venera 9 is not the right answer. It is Venera 10. Sorry, Chandrasen. Now let's quickly move to the next question. In the year 1985, what is the name of the world's first global communication satellite network that was placed in geostationary orbit? So today, when we talk about the global communication, obviously these are huge satellites put in geostationary orbit, but all of this started for the first time even before the internet. In fact, because of these satellites, we have internet today. In the year 1985, please tell me the name of these satellites, and the time starts now. The geostationary orbit basically means that the satellite, once placed at that position, which is roughly about 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth, the satellite never moves from the position on the surface of the Earth. So it is geostationarily synchronized. That means if the Earth is rotating, the satellite will also move in the same at the same speed respectively. And therefore, if the satellite is placed in the geostationary orbit, it will always focus on a point uh, on the surface of the Earth. And this is a great feature, and because of that, you know, the communication can be made easy, and because of this feature of geostationary satellite, the internet is possible. So how this whole thing started, let's find out the answer. The name of the satellite, it's not only one satellite, but there were 1700 satellites that were placed in geostationary orbit, and the name of the satellites were called Cosmos. And these the only job of these satellites were communication way back in 1985. So well, let's find out who has been able to give the right answer. So Chandrasen is attempting. Unfortunately, this is not the right answer. Chandrasen, good try, but now let's move to the next question. In the year 2001, which version of Microsoft Windows OS was released for retail sale? This was a very popular version of Microsoft in the year 2001. The time starts now. Okay, so you know that the Microsoft is a very popular operating system. Windows is a very popular operating system which is used in PCs today. But in 2001, a very special version of Microsoft Windows was released, which had the networking capability, because at that time there was a competition with other networking softwares, and Microsoft came up with a package for small businesses in 2001, and therefore Windows XP was released. And that is the answer. Windows XP was the answer. And this was an easy question, and Chandrasen, you got it right. Absolutely right. Windows XP is the right answer. So now let's see if we have more questions. Yes, we have another question which is related to China. In the year 2017, which Chinese premier unveils his new ruling council in the Great Hall of People? And surprisingly, none of the other five members were younger than himself. That means nobody can succeed him. They are all older than him. And this is how this Chinese premier was able to consolidate power for himself. Please name this Chinese premier. The year was 2017. The time starts now. Well, Chinese political, dispensation is unlike any other political environment anywhere in the world. They are not democratic; they are autocratic. That means even though they have a party which rules the country, but the party is can be controlled because there are only very few people. The country itself is more than 1 billion people, but the party has only 3,000 people who decides the fate of 300 billion people, and the people do not have right to elect anyone. There is no democracy. So using some tricks like this one, somebody is able to become sort of a dictator, and nobody can shake the person from that place, and this person will be a de facto ruler of the great country of China. So the answer is Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping is the right answer. Xi Jinping is the current prime minister or the ruler or president or everything of that country. So let's see who have been able to give the answers, who actually attempted. Well, Chandrasen, this is not the right answer. Answer is the current prime minister Xi Jinping. All right. So I believe this was the last question, and you know, as you know, the critical thinking ability is a journey. So join me again tomorrow, same time, and we will continue our journey together. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again tomorrow.